Here's something nobody tells you when you finally achieve a goal: the promotion, the pivot, the business launch, the career you rebuilt from the ground up. Nobody tells you that the voice, the one that told you you weren't ready, that you were too old, too late, too much, not enough, that voice doesn't pack its bags and leave when you win. It just changes its script. And if you think achieving the goal was the finish line for managing your own mind, I've got news you're not going to love. Protecting your self talk is not a phase, it's not a season, it's not something you graduate from. It's a lifelong job, and it doesn't end. Welcome back to The Bold Life. Let's talk about it. Welcome to The Bold Life School, the show that empowers you to elevate your life and to step into your full potential. I'm your host, Jamesyn, and this is where ambition meets authenticity, where you'll find the tools and inspiration to grow, evolve, and thrive. Each week, we dive into powerful topics that challenge the status quo, whether it's to break through limiting beliefs, navigate life's transitions, or embrace the bold moves that push you beyond your comfort zone. Now let's get into today's episode. Most of us are carrying around a quiet assumption. We don't say it out loud, but it's running underneath everything. The assumption is this: once I get there, once I reach the goal, the noise will stop. The worry and self-doubt will end. Once I land the role, I'll stop questioning myself. Once I make the leap, I'll stop second guessing. Once the business is profitable, once the title changes, once the people who doubted me can see it, then my brain will finally get on board. But here's what actually happens. You get there, and your brain, the same brain that fought you the entire way, looks around at your new life and says, okay, new material. Now, it's not you can't do this. Now it's you got lucky. Now it's they're going to figure out you don't belong here. Now it's sure you did that, but can you do it again? Can you keep it going? The voice didn't die. It got promoted with you. It evolved with you. And its sole purpose is to drag you back down to a level that's safe and comfortable. So why does your brain do this? I want to be really clear about something, because this is where women get it wrong. They hear that critical voice inside them and they think it means this is a fact. I have issues. I have deficiencies. They think it's evidence of these deficiencies. But it's not evidence that something is wrong with you. It's just biology. Your brain has one job that outranks every other job: keep you alive. And to your brain, alive means safe, and safe means familiar. Your brain doesn't care about your aspirations. It doesn't care about the woman you're becoming. It cares about the woman you've already been, because she survived. She's the golden child. So every time you stretch, every time you reach past the edge of your current identity, your brain sounds the alarm. Not because you're in real danger, because you're in new territory. And to your brain, new and dangerous are the same thing. This is why the negative self-talk gets loudest exactly when it gets hard. Not before, not after, during. Right when you need your own mind on your side the most. It's dragging you backward toward the familiar version of you. Maybe that looks like suddenly wanting to quit 3 weeks into a new and challenging role. Maybe it looks like sabotaging the launch you spent 6 months building. Maybe it looks like shrinking in a meeting where you finally have the seat you fought for. It's not weakness, but it is your brain doing its job. The problem is, its job and your job are not the same. You're in conflict with each other when you have a goal and you move through the goal and beyond the goal to more. If you've been here for a while, you know the framework underneath everything I teach. It's that circumstances, situations, life, what happens, it's neutral. The facts of your life don't create your feelings. They don't get to be blamed. Your thoughts about the facts, your situation, create your feelings. And your feelings drive your actions. And your actions produce your results. This simple model, brought to me by my training at the Life Coach School, is really the key to creating and maintaining success, no matter what craziness is happening all around you. And there will be craziness. So follow this example with me. If the thought you have is, oh, I'm going to blow this, what do you feel? Likely it's anxious, small, worried. And what do you do when you feel anxious and small and worried? Well, you hesitate. You overprepare and underdeliver. You hold back ideas. You avoid the conversations that need to be had. You make personal excuses and avoid what you don't feel confident doing. That's natural. But what result does that produce? Exactly the one you were afraid of. Your self-talk isn't just background noise. It's the first domino in a chain that builds your results, which means protecting it isn't just self-care. It's necessary. It's a necessary part to think about when you build your strategy for change, and it needs to be a regular practice that you must protect while going about the day-to-day grind of taking action. You have to constantly be watching your thoughts and reminding yourself that you can do better. It's frustrating to work this hard on your external life and then realize that the internal work never gets to be finished. I know. I felt the frustration in my own chest, in my body, in my heart, in my mind. The fact that we will never be perfect in perfect circumstances is very annoying. But here's how to reframe it. The work doesn't continue because you're failing at it. The thought work must continue because you keep growing. Every new level of your life comes with a new level of your brain's resistance. The more you elevate your life and break the molds, the more likely you are to encounter this internal resistance. A new chapter brings new noise. That's the deal. There are a few practices, though, to get beyond this. The first strategy is pretty simple, but most women skip it because it doesn't feel like doing anything. They don't get the connection between simple thoughts in their heads and the results that they have at the end of a goal. But you have to catch the thought and separate it from the facts. You have to remind yourself that just because you think it doesn't mean it's true. Here's what I mean. When the voice says things to you like, you're in over your head, or this isn't going to work, or you should just quit, your brain presents that as a report from the field of experts, as though it's information, as truth. And that's how you receive it. You don't even question it, especially when you're very used to negative self-talk. It slides straight from thought to feeling something bad to action or inaction before you've noticed that it happened. And then you're confused when you don't have results. So the practice is this. When you feel the fear, the dread, the shrinking, the sudden urge to retreat, just stop, pause, and ask one question. Is this true? What am I making this mean? Then write it down. Actually write it. Get the sentence out of your head, the worries, the concerns, the negative thoughts, out of your head and onto paper where you can look at them, because a thought inside your head feels like the truth. But when you see them on paper, you start to notice these are just judgments. These are just beliefs. These are not true. These are options to think among many things that I could be thinking to better serve myself. Then run the test. When you look at what you've put on paper, ask yourself, is it fact or is it a thought? I missed the deadline. That's a fact. You can't make that deadline is a thought. The launch numbers underperformed based on projections. That's just a fact. I was delusional to think I could do this. That is a thought, and a harsh one. Facts are what happened. Thoughts are an extension of your insecurities, worries, and self-sabotaging self-talk. You should absolutely question your thoughts because your mind is not looking out for your best interests. This is why it's an ongoing job. Not because you are doing it wrong, because the thoughts keep coming as you keep climbing higher and higher outside your comfort zone. If you're an ambitious woman who wants to evolve, your mind is going to have something to say. Watching your mind is not a task that you ever complete. It's something you continually manage and get better at. The second strategy is to stop negotiating with your brain in the moment. We all do that. But in the moment, if you negotiate with your brain, you will lose. Here's the pattern. It gets hard, the voices get loud, and you start deliberating back and forth. Should I keep going? Maybe this was a mistake. Maybe I should scale back. Maybe the timing's wrong. And you tell yourself you're thinking it through, but you're not thinking. You're bargaining with a very scared brain. And a scared brain is a bad negotiator to sit across from because it only has one offer, and that is retreat. Get the hell out of here. Abort mission. So what do? You take the decision out of the moment entirely. You decide ahead of time. This is part of your strategy, your action plan. When you're calm and clear, you write down the answer to this. When it gets hard, and it will get hard, what will I do? Not if, but when. What's the plan when the doubt shows up in week 3, in month 3, in year 3? What's the sentence I'm going to say back to that internal voice? What's the one action I take no matter what I'm feeling that day? And when you have a strategy for change and you have an action plan and concrete steps, it's easy to ignore that voice and go on with your plan. Then when the moment comes, you don't want to do it or you're afraid, you don't deliberate. You follow the plan. You execute the decision, the clear version of you already made. You just do it, step by step, according to plan. Your personal progress is made when you ignore the critical self-talk and move through action anyway. This is what separates the women who sustain their reinvention from the women who build it and then quietly give up. It's not confidence. It's not motivation. Predecision. The clear-headed version of you protecting the future version of you who's going to be tired, scared, and looking for the exit. You're thinking about that in advance, and you know how to handle it when it comes. You don't need to feel strong in the moment. You need to have decided before the moment and start trusting yourself to follow through, despite that nagging internal self-talk who keeps haunting you. When the negative thoughts show up, you remind yourself that those thoughts are not true. So here's what I want to leave you with. You're never going to wake up one day with a brain that only says nice things to you. That brain doesn't exist. Not for me, not for the women you admire, not for anyone building a life bigger than the one they were handed. Not even for the most successful humans on earth. No matter what you think you see on social media. Nobody has a clean and friendly mind. The goal was never to have a completely quiet mind either. It's to have a managed mind. And this is mindset work. This is thought work. This is identity work. Protecting your self-talk isn't a milestone you just pass. It's maintenance on the most important asset you own, your mind. Because every result in your life starts as a thought in your head, and you're the only one standing guard at the door. So keep watching, keep catching yourself, keep deciding ahead of time. The voice won't retire, but neither will you. Stay bold, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed today's episode, head over to theboldlife.coach for more resources, join our community, and start living your boldest life today.